Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we're going to take a look at the issue with the printer driver not installing, or no printer driver has been installed error in Windows 10. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we're going to go through some of the processes that I've gone through to fix a problem with a printer. Now this is actually on a real life PC which I've been looking at, and the issue was that for some reason a USB printer which had previously worked fine was no longer installing the correct drivers and it refused to print. So a little bit more of a backstory. So the printer was an older Brother HL2240, which is a pretty old printer nowadays, but generally if you plug it into Windows 10 on a USB, it will automatically install the drivers from Windows and it will run quite happily. You can also download the drivers from Brother's website and install them that way if you wish to get more features, but essentially it should just work. So when plugging the printer in, we get the message in Device Manager or in the Devices section saying that the printer is there and it's recognized it, but it cannot install the driver. So it says Windows has not installed the drivers, or words to that effect. Basically, the printer cannot install the drivers. So at this point I thought, okay, maybe I've got an issue with this. So uninstalled it, reinstalled it, kept on going round and round in circles. Same thing was happening every single time. So I tried to install a PDF printer and the same thing happened again. So there's obviously something wrong with the Windows spooler system. Now going into the services section, I found that the printer spool service kept on stopping. So I went in and changed the services to make sure that it was continually running, all that kind of thing. Tried to reinstall various services, restart them, etc., and didn't get anywhere. So I thought, right, okay, one last ditch attempt, we'll try and install another printer, which is known to be working under Windows 10. And again, exactly the same thing. The printer appeared in the dialog boxes and you could see it as an installed printer, but the driver just could not start. So long story short, after many hours of trying to fault find and patching Windows and all those kinds of things, sfc.exe, the DSIM or DISM fixes, all those kinds of things, and it just would not get any better. So it appears to be that if you are getting this error message, it is an inherent problem within Windows and the Windows installation is corrupted. So this is where a USB drive like this can actually completely save your bacon and not destroy the system. So what you'll need to do is to go to the Windows website, go to the Windows 10 creation tool and download the latest version of the Windows operating system for your particular system. Now this does have to be a newer version or the same version as what you've already got installed. So if you try doing this with a previously downloaded version of the Windows Media or the ISO on a USB disk or even from the retail discs, DVD, that kind of thing, it will not work. So it does need to be exactly the same version as the updated OS on the system, or newer preferably. Ideally, I would say download the latest version of Windows anyway, just to get all the latest patches and that, and to save you having to do further Windows updates after you've reinstalled it. So I'll go over to the computer now and I'll show you how I started the process and how to actually install Windows over the top of itself without losing any data or information. So on the screen now I've got, this is the kind of issue, and you can see there's 19 million results coming up for this particular thing. Printer driver has not installed Windows 10. So it is actually a very common problem, and when Windows starts to get in this corrupted mess, the best thing to do is to start over. So what you'll need to do is plug in a USB flash drive of some sort, or have some kind of storage medium, and we'll get that ready. So what we need to do is open up a browser and type in Windows Media Creation, and then go to the Microsoft.com website and get the latest version. So what you want to do is download the tool now, and we'll download that to the desktop, and then we'll open the file, agree to this, and Windows 10 setup will get a few things ready. Now ideally, if you can do this on a separate PC, just in case the PC that you're working from has actually got hardware issues as well, in which case it'll corrupt the data that you're downloading. So ideally do this on a separate machine if you can, but if that isn't possible, maybe you're out doing some remote working or something and you've only got access to one machine, then this is the way to go ahead and do it. So in the terms and conditions, you've got no choice but to accept them. Okay, so at this point we get the option to upgrade this PC now, which of course you can do it that way if you wish to. I find it more reliable to do it my way, but again, choice is yours. So what we're going to do is create an installation media, and we'll click next. And this is the bit where you have to select the appropriate version. So if you untick that, choose English if English is your language, the edition Windows 10 obviously, and the architecture 64-bit or 32-bit. It's very unlikely you're going to have a 32-bit system these days, so choose 64. Obviously if you want to, you can just choose the recommended options there, but I'm going to go with the 64-bit of Windows 10. And it needs to be at least 8 gig USB flash drive. So we'll click next, and we'll choose that volume there. So now Windows is going to go ahead and download the latest version and then install it onto the USB stick. So what we'll do is we'll fast forward through this and we'll be back as soon as it's finished downloading. Okay, so now the USB flash drive is ready, so we can click on Finish, and Setup will do its clear up, so we can close down all the windows. Now at this point, before you go any further, it is a very, very good idea to back up your system. Now there's various tools available to do that. You can use Windows Own Tool if you just type in backup, there's options there. Or I actually personally quite like the Macrium suite of software, which does imaging and backups, and I find that to be very good. If you're interested in seeing a video on that, then let me know in the comment section and maybe we'll make that happen. But for now, what we want to do is reinstall Windows over the top of itself. So what we want to do is to go into our computer and into our USB drive, and then we just hit Setup exe and click on Yes for user account control and wait for the installer to load. So there we go, now we've got the option to install Windows 10. So as it says there, Windows Setup will go online and get updates, drivers and optional features. These updates will help installation go smoothly and can include important fixes, updated device drivers and additional files which are not on the installation media. So all we do now is click on Next, and that will go through and get the updates. And once it's got ready to do that and it's ready to install, we'll go through and check some more settings. So now it's analysing the PC to see what state the computer is in and what is installed, etc. And this is the point again where you have no choice but to accept the licensing terms. And there was a section there where you get to choose what to keep, but because this is a in-place upgrade, it's going to keep everything regardless. So all this is going to do is to install Windows over the top of itself. You will actually get a windows.old folder after this installation, which should this not go as intended, you can always use System Restore and go back and it will actually reinstall it from the previous version. Again, the best method is to take a backup, image the drive if possible so you can re-image it. This advice is at your own risk, but if you're having such problems with your printers not working and very kind of core features not working properly, this is the best bet. So again, we'll let this carry on and go through getting updates and doing the installation, and we'll come back shortly. Okay, so there we go. It's done most of the pre-setup, and as we said, we're ready to install. So as it says there, you won't be able to use your PC while Windows installs. Save and close all your files before you begin. And to recap, you've chosen to install Windows 10 Pro and to keep personal files and apps. Now, if you want to now, you can change what to keep on this section here, but if you want to keep Windows as it is with all your programs and all that kind of stuff, then all you need to do is click Install. And as it says there, your PC will restart several times. This may take a while. It's a really good idea at this point to make sure obviously that your USB drive isn't going to be booted from, because otherwise it will try and start the Windows process again. I actually put a marker in the video previous to this to say to change your boot options, but hopefully most of you will have your boot options set to your main hard drive first of all, and booting from USB is something you do on an ad hoc basis. But again, if you've got the Windows 10 installation media still inserted into your computer, I would suggest the next time that the PC restores, you remove it before it boots up. Again, we'll let this carry on and we'll come back when it's finished. Okay, so we've done the install and everything is working fine on the PC. As I expected, it was working pretty well anyway, but I thought I'd just do a fresh upgrade over the top just to see what would happen. And it's all worked out pretty well. It's gone through the rest of the setup process. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned it previously in the video because a bit of time has passed, but I did mention to remove the USB drive. Now, actually, if you do forget to do that, once it tries to reboot, it will actually flag up a message. I did see it on the screen because I went off to do another job, and I did come back to see that it said, please remove the USB drive unless you want to do a clean install. So there is also that. So should you come across that, you can just go ahead and click on yes, and it will go through the rest of the in-place upgrade rather than doing a fresh install. So I just thought I'd point out. But there you go, that is how to perform a in-place upgrade or a repair install of Windows 10 on your machine. Hopefully it will fix your errors. It certainly fixed my printer issues, and everything is happy days now. So I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll be catching you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.